The first recollection I had of Point of Ayr was when my father used to come home on his push bike in his black. He would get off his bike and then my mother would have a bath ready for him, where my father used to have his bath and then go in the house. My mother would take his clothes, his working clothes, and she would put them by the fire to dry. Not because they were wet with water, it was because they were wet with sweat.
When you was in school, you were sent to a job centre, and I walked in, I sat down, and the woman said to me, "What does your father do, Pete?" I said, "He's a miner." "Oh," she said, "right." So she filled in a form and she said, "Go down to the Harvard and give it to the ambulance attendant, ambulance room attendant, and he'll give you a medical." And I left school on the Friday afternoon, and the middle of the day started work on Friday afternoon because I had a medical. And I started work at the age of 15, straight from school to work.
A teacher called Stylo, Mr. Hughes, but he was known to the kids as Stylo. He came and had a look at my drawing and he said to me, he said, "You've got a personality, but I'm afraid it's only going to take you down the mines." And sure enough, old Stylo was quite right, because in July of that year I left Glyndŵr and went for a job in Point of Ayr.
You get up, say 5 o'clock in the morning, you go down to the pit, you get into work, and the first thing you do is get undressed. Then you get your towel and your soap dish, if you were lucky enough to have a soap dish, and then take them through then to your dirty lockers, which were always warm.
You know, you went in there, you got changed into your dirty clothes, your pit clothes.
And off you go. With your helmets, you got your helmet and your clobber on.
And then you put a tally on the board to say where you was actually working.
You would go down the pit and walk approximately half an hour to the stable. You would pick a horse up and then walk another 30 to 40 minutes to your place of work.
But we used to go down the pit and sit on the man train, and we'd be on the man train for about half an hour. And then obviously it was another good hike then, you know, walking to your own workplace, you know. So it was a good hour's travel before you started work at all, you know.
You would work approximately from about 7 o'clock until 10 o'clock, when you would have your snapping, which would be a 20-minute break to eat the sandwiches. And make no mistake, the horses were around you then. They wanted the crusts. You then started driving again, working again, until 1:45. You would take the traces off the horse and then you would let the horse go, because believe me, although it was pitch dark, the horse knew his own way to the stable.
We had a pit and shovel. Everybody knows what a pit and shovel is, but in the pit we had different sorts of shovels, different sorts of pits. And a shovel, anybody can use a shovel, but you've got to use the shovel right. So the trick was that you could look at the shovel and actually balance it on one finger, and that was the balance you got. You could make it hard work by using the shovel, by putting your two hands together. It'd do no good. There was a way of using the shovel.
Point of Ayr was under the system of pillar and stall. It was a roadway 12 foot wide by 6 foot high. And the team that worked that heading, as we called it, consisted of 2 loaders, 2 colliers, a fireman, who later became to be known as deputy, and a pony driver. Now the loaders and colliers were on piecework, but the poor driver, the young kid driving the horse, was on pittance. He was on just a day wage. The normal progression was for the pony driver to eventually get to go loading. This would be done on a seniority basis, of course, but that was when you could get to earn some money. From the loader's point of view, their move up the ladder would be to become colliers, and then that would be them on the top rate of pay.
Health and safety was started from the first day you went on the pit, because you was trained on every job that you went on, and you did your job, and we had fun doing the job on the pit.
we're very, very tight-knit community, and I miss it. How it broke up was, young lads got married, they left home, they got cars in them days, and they went to live in Prestatyn and Rill and Flint and places like that, you see, so the community was fractured.
The villages were built by the people who worked in the pits, and from the coal actually come the brickyards, and from the brickyards the bricks were made to go down the pit, so they worked together.
Come the very early 80s, I was chairman of our union, the officials' union. And when the strike occurred, Point of Ayr did not go out on strike officially. I was detailed as the chairman every so often to go down to the picket line to make sure that there was absolutely no problem with our members coming through.
Now, we had a vote in Point of Ayr Colliery whether to work or not, you see. I voted to go on strike, but the vote carried forward, we're carrying on working, you see. And I know in my heart of hearts that I should have gone on strike. But, you know, I go with the majority. If Arthur hadn't sort of bullied everybody, he'd have had his vote to strike, you know. But it was just the way he went about it, you see, because everybody, all the ones that did go to work, were kicking up then and saying, well, I'm losing the vote here, this democratic, you know. I used to go through that picket line, and it used to break my heart, you know, my stomach would be in knots, you know, especially when we had to walk through the picket line, you know. I knew I should have been there. I knew I should have been there with the lads, you know, but I had a mortgage, I had 3 young kids, and I never had the money. I had to keep going.
Once or twice a week I used to go down to the bottom of Point Road to make sure, as I say, that there was no hassle to our members. There was absolutely no problem whatsoever until certain pickets from South Wales started arriving. That was when there was a little bit of heckling going on.
Well, lots of the collieries throughout the UK, because they went on strike, they weren't maintained properly. It made it easier to shut the pits. We all played into Thatcher's hands. He made her job nice and easy, you know. Yeah. Sad. Really sad.
Point of Ayr and the National Coal Board gave everybody there a jolly good living. And if I had my time over again, I wouldn't change it.
When you look where Point of Ayr is today, there's nothing there at all, you know, but we as a group would like to put a memorial to the miners saying we were here.
Most pits that have closed have got a mine car or something like that to remember them, even if it's only a mine car and written on the side of the pit, the name of the pit, you know. Point of Ayr have nothing. The only thing we have, which is a good, nice little plaque, but it is right alongside the community centre in Fullangroyu, which is a good place if people get to there, you see.
We decided that if we wanted it, if we could raise money, we'd like to have it in the end of Finnan Groove.
It's right alongside the dual carriageway. It's right along the coastal path. You could see it from the railway, which isn't far away. So people can see, well, Point of Ayr Colliery, because we'll have someone on saying that Point of Ayr Colliery was there.
There was 2 actual groups of people that wanted it, you know, and it's caused a bit of animosity between us and the other people.
So many people are trying to do something like this for political reasons. I'm not doing it for political reasons. I'm not even doing it for John Wiltshire. I'm doing it for the likes of all the mates that are dying, all the lads that worked on the pit. And not only that, to the families as well, who were part of the community. This will be for them.